Hero Games is facing a little bit of backlash for some gameplay issues as well as some story content, so they're going to go ahead and give us a notice here about some of those issues and what they plan to do it in the future. Now, this did happen a couple of hours ago on Bilibili, but I wanted to make sure the information was going to be the same for global. I don't really have a reason to think that they wouldn't, but I always want to make sure that I'm giving you guys accurate information. Now, this is a little bit different from what they're going to be doing for like the mobile crashes and all that different stuff and the PC lags. That was in a different video that I just did and with a different notice. So this is going to be more focused on just a little bit of improvements going forward. So the first and foremost, we're going to get Radiant Tide times 10. This is going to be your premium banner. So Yinlin, Jian, this is what you're going to get for that, which is super cool. We're going to be able to get that compensation. And I actually got a surprise compensation at the end of this article. So all you have to do is be Union level 2, and you got to make sure to get it by 703. Super nice. But the optimization of the skip function. So this is what a little bit of people have been giving feedback for in the skip button, including not enough skippable scenes. So kind of making you sit through a lot of different stuff. UI design for the skip button is not readable enough. So it is on the top left. And I think that's kind of typical for a lot of games, but it does seem kind of hidden. And I know a lot of people are having issues on mobile because you kind of have to hold your finger there or you have to click it. And sometimes it doesn't always prompt you to do so. So you don't necessarily know what's skippable and what's not. The main quest line is feeling a little bit lengthy. There are sections, at least in my opinion. I have not read the entire thing because I'm currently trying to go through it as fast as I can to get to end game. And then I plan on making an alt account to go through the story. But there are kind of issues with it being like kind of filler almost. Like it kind of reiterates a little bit of the same thing. And I would rather just skip that part because it doesn't really add too much to what's already kind of happening. So we plan to optimize your experience by including support for skipping all types of scene and storyline and reviewing functions of storyline scripts and cutscenes. So here we go. We got redesign the skip function for the UI and make sure it's more clear, obviously, especially on mobile. 2, largely increase the skippable scenes of the main story quest, including the prologue and chapter 1. So it could make it a little bit easier to reroll. But at this point, honestly, with all the rewards, I don't know if you're going to be worth rerolling at this point, but it is kind of nice for people who's going to be able to get in. Supporting the skipping of character dialogues outside of cutscenes and cinematics. That's super nice because there's a lot of stuff that's just a little bit of fluff. Who cares, right? Now, if you're a really good story enjoyer and you really like to do all that stuff, of course, this doesn't affect you. Just don't skip, right? The companion story of Resonator Yinlin will be available in game soon. So we're going to be able to get that due to technical constraints. We're unable to support the skipping of cutscenes, which, those are just like the kind of high fidelity cutscenes where you just have to go through it. And, honestly, they're kind of a nice experience. But it is kind of an issue like where I'm at, where I'm trying to like kind of skip a little bit of it so I can go back and play it, but it's okay. But so basically they just said, hey, there's just not a lot we can do for that. So we appreciate you guys understanding. But number 2 is going to be optimize the combat experience with regard to the issues that frequently come up with feedback of all rovers, including the lack of signification of combat actions, lack of visual feedback of action impacts, poor controller combat experience, and visual blocking during the combat by elemental objects. We have scheduled dedicated optimization of different combat scenes with the goal of improving those positive feedback for players in the combat experience. Additionally, we are also working on improving the functional support and controllers. So I've seen a lot of people talking about the controller stuff not being available on mobile. I know it is currently available on PC. I play mouse and keyboard, so it doesn't necessarily affect me, but there are kind of issues with the camera sometimes where it gets locked in a spot and I can't move it. Now it eventually kind of goes away. So I don't know if it's like trying to get me to look at something or whatever, but it feels like I get locked onto something for longer than I should, especially because I'm not actually like locked on. There is a lock on feature in this game, but I'm not using it because I'm trying to do a free look. I'm trying to be able to look around and sometimes I get stuck. So hopefully that's part of this because it just makes it kind of hard to fight somebody whenever you're doing that. I will also say that there are a lot of issues with some of the impacts and stuff. It doesn't feel like it's actually hitting very hard. And that's mainly due to like the echoes to me. Like the echoes don't feel like they're hitting as hard. It kind of just feels like I'm smacking something and then it's just no impact really. So hopefully that's kind of what they're talking about. Number 3, a lot of you guys are going to be pretty happy about this one. So after the launch, we received much feedback across the platforms and channels regarding the beginner choice convene. We're deeply sorry for the unsatisfactory experience the event has brought you. Therefore, we plan to issue a special item, which is going to be a voucher of reciprocal tides, which grants a free chance to obtain a 5-star standard resonator of your choice via in-game mail. So basically this is a 5-star selector and it's going to be straight to your mail. So you don't have to do the, 80 pity and you're just going to be able to straight up get it. So this sounds like to me that they're going to keep the other one. So technically you're going to have like 3 5-stars. So of course that beginner like selector one, you're going to have to do the 80 pity to be able to get to it. So it is going to take you a little bit of time. So, but if you want to get somebody for like example, I got Verena as my first one. It was a super cool pick. I really like her, but I wanted to get Calgaro And so I'm going to be able to do that through this, and I don't have to wait for my 80 pity to be able to do that. I just have to, you know, basically grab them, and then maybe I can get Jian Shin or something like that on the back burner for those standard banner ones, so I can build up the pity and stuff like that on her, and then be able to eventually get her. So this does look like it's only going to be for the beginner ones. So like basically the ones that you're seeing, like Ling Yang, Kaokaro, Jian Shin, Encore, and then Verena. So those are going to be the ones that you are able to get. If I were to recommend one, if you don't already have Verena, should be a really good choice as like a third choice. If it's like, you know, you got Jian Shin and then you got Kaokaro, Verena would be a good choice. I'd also say Kaokaro is a really good choice. He's a good damage dealer. And then of course, if you like Jian Shin, because she looks good. She's actually not that bad. I feel like a lot of people harp on her, but she's really not that bad. But Encore is also a really good DPS. So if you're looking for DPS, I'd say Kaokaro for Yinlin duo, as well as just him doing a lot of damage. And then obviously you got Encore for damage. And then Verena is going to be really good for support. So if I really had to pick three, that's what I would do. I would probably go with Encore, Kaokaro, and then Verena if I was going for like pure meta and just trying to get the best of the best. But I'm going to go for Jian Shin instead of Encore just because I like her. Number 4 is going to be further optimizations are scheduled along with more fresh content. So we've already scheduled further optimizations of the game and development of new functions and gameplay elements down the pipeline. These include the optimization of art assets of certain NPCs, which I think the NPCs look really good. So I'm wondering what that means. A new layered map display function and more echo transformations. Ooh, transformations, variations of different echoes would be pretty cool. So basically, if you guys want to give feedback though, here it is for the email. So yeah, basically it's just kind of going over some of the different story issues. Honestly, I feel like it's kind of nice. It's refreshing to see this because they could just go standard with Hoyo just being like, hey, you can't skip nothing. They're trying to give you the most playable experience for you. They're pretty much trying to cater it, even though it kind of does set them back a little bit because they want people to play longer, and that's usually why they have like no skip button. They want you to sit through it. Plus, they spend a lot of money on the story and stuff like that. But basically, what they're saying is, hey, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. And I guess that's great because you pretty much just get to choose your play. You get to play through the game how you want to do it. And I think that's really nice. So Kiro, cool for the fact that they're doing communication. Of course, the compensation, we're getting at 10 premium summons as well as a 5-star selector. We just ended up getting, just like for the hot patches and fixes and stuff like that, 10 on the standard banner. So there's a lot of stuff going around. There's going to be a lot of different things. It's a great time to start the game and be able to get in and do all your stuff. If you want to re-roll, this would probably be the best time to re-roll. But at this point, you have so many different ways to get like 3 different 5-stars. So, I mean, it's kind of up to you how you want to do it. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm kind of seeing a good pattern of them taking the feedback and being able to issue some sort of notice on what they're going to be doing about it. And I can really see that they're putting in the time and effort to make this game really enjoyable and just so much better. So hopefully we're able to kind of see the final product of what they're kind of wanting to do in the future and kind of go through, you know, some of the different fixes